Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's called the graveyard shift. So I'll try very hard to make sure that we all stay awake on the subject. And first preamble is that what I'm going to share with you is what I call experiential truth, not universal truth. That means things that I consider to be experiential truth to me, and if you don't find them as useful, please put them in the bin. And so they're just as the way I understand them. First slide. I'm going to talk, second point is I will cover a lot more about what we're doing in the government in applying this. And I can say that having worked in the private sector for 25 years in Shell and Malaysia Airlines, I realize a lot of the principle or the secrets are interchangeable. Let me begin with my definition of transformation. 3 words. Big results fast. Only 3 words. If it's incremental, that to my mind is not transformation. If you do continuous improvement is okay, but that's not transformation. And so it needs to be big results fast. Now, the approach that I take always in thinking these things through is that I categorize leaders into 2 types. Leaders who stand on the red side of the yin-yang chart, the doing side, and pushes the changes in the organization from the doing. They are the type that stand in the blue part of the yin-yang. That means try to change the systems, the mindset, and the thinking so that then people will do things differently. In my own definition, and not everybody will agree, some of us stand on the red, some stand on the blue. That's why I call this experiential truth. My view is that it is far better to get big results fast if you stand in the red rather than in the blue. Next slide. If you look at this, the formula that I find very useful is that you start by saying you change your doing side, the things that you do, and if you repetitively make those changes, then your character will change. If you start by saying, I'm going to change your character, I call you all in this room and cajole you to change your character, you might feel good about it, but I can tell you tomorrow you go back to your office, you're the same. No change. We feel rah-rah at one time, but we've been to many courses and we feel very excited, motivated, but go back, same stuff. And so the term here is about acting your way into a new way of being. You act your way first. You change the way you do it. And after you change the way you do it, and then the transformation takes place in the being and the character of the organization. So I would classify leaders of those 2 types. Transformational leaders are those that stand in the action zone and make changes in the way the organization do it, and eventually the character of the organization change. That, to my mind, is the perspective of a transformational leader. Our Prime Minister began with a whole notion of wanting to transform Malaysia. I was very happily working in the private sector until one fine day he said, Idris, come and join me in the cabinet. I said, why, sir? And because I want Malaysia to go and undertake a journey of transformation. And so he began painting these pictures. The first thing he said, if we want to transform our country, you cannot be a winning Chelsea or Real Madrid or team or Barcelona team if you're not united. So the first thing he wanted to do was one Malaysia, the concept of one Malaysia. Then that is a very big thing that we started to talk about in Malaysia. Then the other one was government transformation program, change the social fabric of society in crime, corruption, rural basic infrastructure, urban public transport, low-income household and education. Those are fundamental areas that the public are concerned about, that we need to transform the social fabric of society. Political transformation, the announcement that the Prime Minister recently made that we get rid of the Internal Security Act to repeal it, is simply because we believe that in a modern and functional democracy, we must allow dissent, public dissent to take place, and dialogue and debate on issues, making sure that that has to be done in a way that you maintain public order. And there are many other things on the political transformation. The economic transformation is to do all the things we needed to do to make sure that we get to where we want to. And then the 10th Malaysia Plan is where money of the government, we make sure that the money, a large chunk of the money is put in areas of priority. Now, this idea, nice, but how does a transformational leader tackle this? It's not about telling people to transform. It's about going down to nitty-gritty pieces of action that you need to do. So our approach was, we put a lot of people through laboratories. We get the private sector involved, mainly private sector, civil servants, and we lock them in rooms. We call labs in Malaysia, and we throw away the key. So in those rooms, you stay there usually about 4 weeks, some of them 6 weeks, otherwise 8 weeks. And the motto inside the labs is Hotel California. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. You know the line, one of the favorite lines, Jackson Brown wrote the line actually in that album. And so when we finished doing that, what then did we do in the doing mode? So that we implement it, we publish in great detail our promises and the actions we intend to take. And we make it available in public domain. Our economic transformation program runs into 600 pages, very detailed sets of activities that we have to do. And so everything on corruption, everything on rural basic infrastructure, our work on busting out crime is put in detail. Why? It forces us to act. Once you have announced it and told the whole world that you're going to do it, you become wholly pregnant. When you are pregnant, there's only one consequence. You must deliver. And so that's why we announce it in that gory detail so that we have no choice. This is very painful as an approach, actually. So after 1 year of implementation, I must say I was very pleased with 1 year of delivery. 121% of the KPIs that was set was achieved. The score was that. In fact, we have an international panel review. The guy who does my job in South Korea is on the panel. The person who used to work in doing my job in Tony Blair's outfit, Sir Michael Barber, is on the panel. 2 IMF representatives, and also the co-founder of Transparency International. Our work was validated by PricewaterhouseCoopers. And so this report is available in public domain. The reason why I put this is simply because it's the action that causes changes to an organization. That's what leadership, transformational leadership is all about.